time is nigh. Open up your eyes to see the signs of the times. Got to be wise to all of their lives. Look to the sky from where my help comes. Wake up, got to wake up from the slumber. Don't let them pull you under. Rise up of the water. Never let them wrestle you into the mud.
Hey, wait, family. Hey, put this on vibrate. Yeah, real quick. Listen, greetings in the name of His and Her Imperial Majesty Emperor Haile Selassie I, Empress Menen. Yes, family. One perfect balance. Welcome to another special episode of Politically Incorrect, where we get it correct. And if we're not correct, y'all already know, just correct us. However you choose to, feel free. Whether text, kite, email, pigeon, Underground Railroad, however, just get us a message and we're going to get it together. So I hope that everyone had a wonderful week and it was strong and that was productive, prosperous, and more importantly, peaceful. Because in 2023, I don't think anything is worth more than your peace. So tonight we're going to take a look at an African Thunderstorm. And this sounds a bit, for those who may or may not know, this is actually a poem. And well, you know what? I ain't going to say too much yet, but do me a favor, and I kid you not. You do not want to miss tonight's revelation. That's all I can tell you. You cannot make this stuff up. So go tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend. Politically Incorrect, up and running. Having said that, let me just go real quick and jump right into this thing. Today is another beautiful, quiet, peaceful Friday afternoon. So for those who observe the Sabbath, I say Shabbat Shalom to you and your family. Islam, Assalamu alaikum to the community. Peace to the Moors. Ashe, Hotep to the conscious community. You already know. Namaste, family out to the east. And the Rastafari brethren and sisters, what they don't know, Rastafari. And to everyone else, is love and light. Simple as that. You know what I mean? So, but I'm going to share some stuff tonight. This is going to be a bit of an emotional ride, and I say that because there's some things you may hear tonight that you would have never heard before, and there's some things that might be a bit sensitive, and so I want to say in the early, viewers' discretion is advised. Oh, and by the way, you are going to definitely need a pen and a paper, or at least screenshot certain things. I'm going to reveal a lot of stuff. I got a lot of videos to show, a lot of information. And by the way, I'm going to recommend this book right here for those who may or may not know it. By Kwame Nkrumah, Neocolonialism, The Last Stage of Imperialism. Colonialism, neocolonialism, neocolonialism. Remember that word. If you never heard it, write it down, copy it down, take a screenshot. Do what you got to do. Make sure you get that information, though. Kwame Nkrumah. Shout out to Ghana, by the way, and the real revolutionary man. Them. We're going to touch that in a minute. I heard a speech recently by our prime servant, Mia Amor Mortley, and I really hope somebody go tag her real quick. Tell her come take a look at Politically Incorrect, because she's the star of tonight's program. The star for sure. We're going to take a look at the speech she did in Ghana. And we're going to juxtapose it for a few other things. And this is a part one of a part two series. Stay tuned for Monday for the other part. But definitely going to touch this tonight. Go tell a friend and tell a friend. It is that kind of night. Having said that, let me say this first. Having said that, before we jump into this totally, go tell a friend. I'm telling you to tell a friend. It's one of them nights, family. It's one of them nights. Yeah. An African Thunderstorm. If y'all never heard of it before, let's get it live and direct. Okay? Let's get it live and direct. Having said that, first let me shout out my family in the inbox family. I see you, Jackie. Monica, I see you. Andrea, I see you too. Shout out to Black Lion Security all day, every day. Maria, man, Maria, I'm here. I got your message. Stolen African. I hope you're feeling good. You and the family. All is well. Win. I'm telling you, yo, buckle your seatbelt, family. Tonight is that kind of night. I'm telling you, in the early, it is that kind of night. And so we're going to take a look at what's going on in this island called Barbados. Prime Servant, I hope somebody go tell her, she on live, man. She on live. Go watch this, family. African Thunderstorm.
Poem by David Rubadiri.
Rubadiri.
African Thunderstorm.
Yeah, family. Tell a friend to tell a friend, family. Tell a friend to tell a friend.
From the west, clouds come hurrying with the wind, turning sharply here and there, like a plague of locusts, whirling, tossing up things on its tail, like a madman chasing nothing.
Pregnant clouds, right stately on its back, gathering to perch on hills like sinister, dark wings. The wind whistles by and trees bend to let it pass.
In the village, screams of delighted children. Toss and turn in the din of the whirling wind. Women, babies clinging on their backs, dart about, in and out, madly. The wind whistles by whilst trees bend to let it pass.
Clouds wave like tattered flags, flying off
to expose dangling breasts as jagged, blinding flashes.
Rumble, tremble, and crack amidst the smell of fired smoke
and the pelting march of the storm.
Wow. Yes. An African Thunderstorm. I got to post that link for those who want to check that out. Let me go ahead and copy this and put this right directly in the comments right below. Make sure you tell a friend to tell a friend. An African Thunderstorm. I mean, Rubadiri, Brother David. I mean, it's amazing. It's amazing. Pregnant clouds, storms coming from the west. So wait a minute. An African thunderstorm and storms coming from the west. I thought storms coming from the east. So what are they talking about? Colonialism was the storm that came from the west. And it's interesting because we find ourselves in 2023 where there's a lot of political rhetoric going on all over. And one of our elders prophesied at a speech back in 1964, if I'm not mistaken. And I sincerely hope I get my dates right tonight because it's important. In 63, I believe, and that was Kwame Nkrumah. And this was in Addis Ababa. And the speech on May the 24th, if you haven't heard it, I'm going to also post that link as well. I may not play the whole thing at this point. Maybe I won't play the whole thing at this point. But what I will say is that he made a prediction. He spoke about many things in this speech. You got to go listen to it. In fact, I'm going to put that link up as well. Let me go ahead and put that out because I'd have a lot of videos to share. And I don't think I'd be able to share all because it's about an hour long or a little under hour. So I won't be able to chop it up. But I'm going to post that link up as well. And you can feel free to go and check it out. A speech by the brother who, for all good and purpose, spoke about Africa uniting and one of the things that will cause Africa to be divided. It's an iconic speech about African unity and Addis Ababa. And I'm telling you, one of the things he talked about in the future to come is that if we as Africans and African leaders don't recognize the individuals who claim to be our friends that are really just coming on the heels of colonialism and what their intentions are at this hour, which is the last stage of colonialism, which is the neo-colonies, they're becoming very desperate, very desperate to maintain control. One of the mistakes we would have made is we accepted these, what should I say, ideologies or these so-called friends bringing gifts And our politicians, what we call politicians, first, let me make it clear. These individuals that get up and claim to represent us are not the government. They are administrators that you, the people, well, become comfortable with them administering the duties of the plantocracy or the corporation. Because you have very little say in what really goes on, although we tend to think that we have this input. No, you don't have this input. You don't. And I'm not here to discuss that tonight. That's for part 2, more in detail aspect of what's happening. But what we must realize is that we're living in a time where they get up on stage and they say the most eloquent things and they weave it together like a string of pearls that appears beautiful on the neckline of some fine model in perhaps a Vogue magazine. Unfortunately, for most of the people who are not at those conferences, the reality is quite different. And therefore, we find ourselves today with this particular speech. I'm going to play this one, though. Definitely going to play this one. I want to pick up at a certain point. I have a few points here outlined. Perhaps I should go back a bit. Because although I would like to play most of it, because of the interest of time, I will only be allowed to play part of it. And so, having said that, let me get right into it.
I say these things because if we are truly to unite and to bring prosperity to our people, a number of things matter. One, we must come together first and foremost to create the environment within which our governments and our people can most be successful.
Let me say this first too, by the way, family, just so that we're on the same page. And no, because I know there are folks who might say to themselves, well, you know, I picking on our prime servant, and I don't know what they might say, but let me just, as a disclaimer, I'm not against anyone, period. Any government, whether DLP, BLP. I'm neither for any government, whether BLP or DLP. I am for the people. I find myself in a place where I'm for the people first, full stop. I am not loyal to any party or any particular administration. My thing is people before party. And having said that, let me play this clip. And I want you all to pay attention carefully to what is being said here. I'll just scale back a bit and pull this from the point of reference. Here we go.
The globe. I say these things because if we are truly to unite and to bring prosperity to our people, a number of things matter. One, we must come together first and foremost.
I agree.
To create the environment within which our governments and our people can most be successful.
Totally agree.
And that means reframing the agreements that were made when we were not seen as sovereign nations.
Agreed.
And when justifiably they could say that they did not know of our circumstances because we did not have the expression of nationhood when the Bretton Woods institutions were formed.
Let me pause there for a second. Bretton Woods institutions. She's referring to the World Bank, Central Bank, these kind of guys. And she's basically making an excuse for them, claiming that when they did put their policies in place, when they were first created post-World War II, these Caribbean islands were not independent. Most of them got their independence down in the 60s. And in most cases, later 60s and beyond. So in the 40s and early 50s, when these banks, these institutions were being developed, WTO and whatnot, these other organizations, what she's claiming is that they didn't have no vision of us because we were not being factored in the first place. Now, I don't know if it was appropriate for our prime servant to get on the international stage, especially in a country like Africa. Especially on the continent of Africa, in the country of Ghana, home of Kwame Nkrumah, and make that statement. Me personally speaking, although later on in her presentation, she alludes how emotional this is because it is the home of Kwame Nkrumah and the things he stood for. That statement by and in of itself is a slap in the face of Kwame Nkrumah. And I'll tell you why. Let me play a little bit more. Watch this. Oh, and by the way, I'm going to assume at this point, like she did for them, I'm going to give her the benefit of the doubt and claim that some of these speeches perhaps are not written by her. I don't really like to think she's good and got the gift for gab. However, as an orator myself, I'd hate to think that you actually went there and said what you just said. But as if that was the worst of it, wait, there's more.
Similarly, we can say to them now that almost 8 decades later, there is no excuse for not seeing us, hearing us, or feeling us. And there is no excuse for others being proxies for our voices in circumstances where we do not have a seat at the table. But I come from a small little nation who also produced a woman called Shirley Chisholm, who in her attempt to remain unbought and unbossed not only was the first African descendant to become a female member of the Congress of the United States of America in 1968, but she dared to also run for the presidency of that country and to articulate a vision that is as relevant today, 50 years later, as it was when she went on that occasion. And she told us that if there is no seat at the table, bring your own chair.
All right. All right. I mean, all right. If there's no seat at the table, bring your own chair.
So you will better understand why we...
Let me just pause it there for a second. Like I said, if you think it couldn't possibly get any worse, it does. Now, Shirley Chisholm, the lady she's referring to, although a historic icon in America and for the most part for a lot of her accomplishments, was the type of woman, I believe, that stood for a lot of things. She was born in Brooklyn. Her parents, father from Guyana, mother from Barbados. If I'm not mistaken, I think they were Quakers to some degree. I could be wrong, but she grew up with a Quakers mindset. And the Quakers are quite interesting people. In fact, matter of fact, let me go ahead and share this one as well. Let me put some links up. That way, let me keep it in line with what I'm doing. Let me go ahead and copy this first. Let me copy that. Go back here. Allow me to put this also in the comments for those who are interested in perhaps viewing it in its entirety. I may go back to it at different points. Let me just point a reference. I'll post the comments. I'll post the link for that particular presentation in Ghana a couple of days ago. Let me go also and share this information for those who also are interested in the lady she just spoke on. She just referenced Shirley Chisholm. I'm going to also put that up. Now, like I said, this young lady is quite an interesting young lady. She's done a remarkable lot for herself, a lot of accomplishments, and you go and you could check them out. And she said, one of her famous quotes are, and I quote, she said, "If you don't have a seat at the table," Shirley Chisholm is known for saying to us, "bring your own chair." Well, although I applaud the actions and the efforts of the sister, especially having some relation to Barbadian parents, well, half anyhow. So if you're gonna give Barbados props, their father's Guyanese, you got to give Guyanese. I think it's British Guyana as well. You got to give them the props as well. You can't just pick one and not leave the other. Nevertheless, that's not the point. The point I want to bring to the table, no pun intended, is that statement she made, for me, is equivalent to Rosa Parks sitting on the bus at a time when we had our own bus lines and should have simply been more comfortable supporting our own than begging for a seat in the front of the bus of the oppressor's bus. That's another conversation also. But having a seat at the table, allow me to show you, family. Let me post a link for this young lady here. Go ahead and do your research, family. Shirley Chisholm, like I said, did a lot of stuff, early childhood education. Anyone into education is a friend of mine. However, it depends on what kind of curriculum they're trying to teach the children, because although she boasts about her early childhood education in Barbados, as a Quaker, I'm not really sure what kind of information she would have received. But as a supporter of the Democratic Party, who the Democrats in America were the ones fighting it, freeing the enslaved, I don't know. Beg the question. Nevertheless, her information is right there. Go check it out and see for yourself. What I will do at this point, however, is change screens really quick. The table that she's referring to, that we sometimes don't pay enough attention to. And I really, really don't like to do this one here, right? But I got to do it. and it's kind of a bit uncomfortable for me. Like my sister, prime servant there, Miss Motley in Ghana, she said she was uncomfortable. Let me say this, family. This is a table that she is referring to. If you don't have a seat at the table, bring your own chair. Like I said, how could it? I am sure that Kwame Nkrumah must have turned over in his resting place, his place of rest. I am certain, because the table she's referring to is none other than the Berlin Conference. Now, wait, Emmanuel, what are you talking about? Where you going with this? This table you're seeing in this image right here is the table of the Europeans, or what we call the G7s at this point, quite frankly, or the G20 at this point, quite frankly. These larger nations that sat down and decided amongst themselves how they were going to carve up Africa and steal the resources from the people who are indigenous to that land. This is the table she's referring to. Rather than thinking, well, I don't have a seat at the enemy's table, it would be better for me to go and build my own table. We are encouraged to do what? We are encouraged to bring a chair. Well, wait a minute. How are you going to bring a chair to sit at a table at a conference that you were not invited to? It sounds as if you're begging. I'm going to let that soak in for a minute, because tonight is one of them kind of nights. I know that folks ain't going to be comfortable, man. 1884, remembering the conference that divided Africa. What conference is that? None other than the Berlin Conference of 1884. Now, some of y'all may have heard of this. Some of y'all may not have heard of this. If you have never heard of this again, feel free to jot it down, write it down, go in your little inbox, Google, type in those, and go. If you like, I placed the link in the comment section. Feel free to go check it and do some research on your own. But this is the mindset that some people have. And I want you to notice that when the prime servant of Barbados made that statement with regards to, if you don't have a seat at the table, bring your own chair. One of the things we cannot do is go and knock on the World Bank and the IMF and suggest to them on the WTO, listen, look, we want a seat at this table. What we should be doing is traveling, note the word I use, as travelers, and making connections as nations with other nations, and creating our own trade relations, creating our own ways of developing economic security for surety. Also trying to find ways to bridge the gap by forging the kind of communication that encourage free movement amongst each other. Not begging for a seat at a table at a conference that you were not invited to. Furthermore, that one was designed specifically to disadvantage you and your generations, for generations to come. Why would we do that? Especially in 2023, especially in Ghana, when, like I said, the brother Kwame Nkrumah, in his book Neo-Colonialism, The Last Stage of Imperialism, outlined very carefully a lot of the tactics that these Europeans would use to keep us subjugated and marginalized, not to mention disenfranchised in an evolving world. Why would we want to do that? Who does that? Well, it's clear to see that almost everyone in this conference is pleased with such ideology. Unfortunately for us here in Barbados, we don't subscribe entirely to that philosophy. Certainly not myself. I think I should. I think it's only right. Let me just go a little bit into this thing a little deeper, as if it probably couldn't get any worse. It does. Where are we here now? Okay, let me play this portion right here. This work? Yeah.
For us. But
let me play this part. Let me just go into this a bit more.
By language, by religion, by those who understood that as long as we could be divided, the dominance of those of a lesser number could preside. I say to us today that we know the power of unity, and it cannot simply be in the rhetoric. It needs to be in our actions and in our policies. There must be a Blue Ribbon Commission established between the African Union and the Caribbean community to put to rest once and for all the issues of connectivity.
Now, wait a minute. The issues of connectivity. If you look and see who funds the African Union, and I really hate to say it, it's kind of an embarrassment. Majority of funding is by outside sources. There's another old Aunt Rose always said to me, another quote, since we're doing quotes tonight, and she would always say, who pays the piper? I don't know what the origin of this particular quote is, but she would say to me, who pays the piper? Can anybody finish that? Did anybody know? Anybody have ever heard that one before? Let me check the comments real quick. I see they scrolling. Has anybody ever heard it before? Who pays the piper? Can somebody finish that for me? Tell me. I want to know the writer of her speeches. Your guess is as good as mine. There we go. Who pays the piper calls the tune. You see, plays the tune. The person who pays the piper get to choose the tune. And the reason why we don't have relationships between us, our continent, mother continent, and the Caribbean, the region, the Caribbeans, is because we rely too much on these outside entities for the contributions. Unfortunately, a lot of these contributions come in the form of Trojan horses. A lot of these organizations are Trojan horses, whether it be China Aid, U.S. Aid, the World Health Organization, PAHO, a lot of these organizations, they come here as Trojan horses with different intentions. And we must be careful in 2023 when taking a gift from these organizations because they come with a fine print. A lot of them come with a fine print. This is the last stage of the imperialism, neo-colonialism. This is the most dangerous place. Kwame Nkrumah warned his people, warned them that this day will come where we will find our own leaders, our own very own leaders who basically trying themselves their best to make it seem like they're for the people, yet they really acting as agents on behalf of these organizations, whether the G7 or the G20. They don't have nothing good in line for us. They never did. Clearly, they never did. Never once look back and say, you know what, we would have done some stuff a little while ago. We have all these summits and we ask you to come and share and speak. And guess what? All you do is come and talk 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 and talk. And what happens afterwards? They leave, promises, and nothing happens. Nothing at all happens. If we are to immunize, if we are to indeed vaccinate ourselves and inoculate ourselves and immunize ourselves from these foreign companies and these foreign corporations, what we know as countries, and these G7s and the G20s that dominate and rule, what we must do today is find a way to connect with each other on our own. The politicians keep telling us this. They keep reciting it in our ears recently. Meanwhile, they go abroad and make deals and relations and things like with China to build back a stadium in Barbados, but never tell you the fine print of the deal. They'll tell you who's building it. They'll tell you how much money they may get. Well, I don't know if they're going to tell you how much money they're going to get. What they do not tell you is what the fine print said. They do not give you the details of the negotiation. They do not reveal the facts of the matter. And therefore, in light of the fact that we're trying to get debt deferred to give countries the opportunity to generate resources to pay back the debt, the truth and the fact is any debt that's deferred is going to be placed on the shoulders and be a burden for our children and our children's children. But y'all don't hear me though. Y'all didn't hear me though. The fiction, because you think about it, these G7s and G20s, and we go to these conferences and we have these dialogues with heads of states, the illusion of a level playing field, when it compare the Caribbean countries or the region as a whole to the G20 and the G7, these dominant countries, the fiction that it's a level playing field is an illusion and not a reality of politics. Because the reality is we do not compare by a margin to any one of these larger countries. In fact, in this same presentation in the very beginning, and you must go and listen to it, our prime servant alludes to such a fact, and she speaks about the ability to purchase vaccine at the onset and in the middle of the pandemic, where these companies were basically saying, we would love to supply you, but your orders are too small, and the larger countries were given priority status and not the smaller ones, which is funny because I thought mostly vaccines we got in the Caribbean were donated. I wasn't aware the government was buying anything. Anyhow, she said it was trying to buy some. I suppose we got to ask the Eminem fella about that one, if you know what I mean. Nevertheless, it is an illusion, family. It's an illusion. Natasha, I see you too. Greetings. Sonia, I see you too. Jacqueline, welcome. When I see you. Gemma, shalom. Shabbat shalom, sis. He who pays, yeah, for sure. Calls the tune. It's a fact. It's an illusion, man. You know what? Look, like I said, when she said, if you don't have a seat at the table, bring a chair. No. If you don't have a seat at the table, it means you weren't invited, which means you should go ahead and build your own table, invite your own people, invite your own friends, form your own alliances, and have your own conference. That's what a people seeking liberation would do. A mindset of looking for accountability with enslavement would bring a chair, knock on the door, and beg for a seat. There's a difference between accountability with enslavement and liberation from enslavement. Two different things. And let us not fool ourselves to think that, this is some sort of hoax. How then are we in this together when we don't know what they are doing to us in Barbados? I like that question. How are we in this together when we don't know what they're doing to us in Barbados? It's crazy. It's crazy. I like to think that they said they're doing transparency. Can we view the contract to the right? You know what? It don't even make no sense asking, family. Like I said, the corporation known as Barbados, run by the administration of the Barbados Labour Party, will never reveal the details of these negotiations to the people they claim to want to govern. It's just not the reality. And anyone thinking so is under an illusion. When they talked the Berlin conference and having a seat at the table, a couple of days ago, our prime servant was also in France, was she not? To my understanding, I think that a lot of folks were like, yeah, that's a good thing. And she over there, and somebody said she had gotten booed in France. And I personally, I don't think so. I don't know if she got booed. I don't think she got booed. I think what happened is that she made a statement regarding the prime minister of France, and folks was like, well, he need to resign. They were not in support of him. France. Imagine again our prime servant in France. And while in France having conversations, she goes ahead and big up Macron. Shout out to this guy, Macron. Big, although we kind of have a similar name. Yeah, man. We are nothing else in common. Because I certainly would not be telling him that. In fact, let me go a step further. How is it possible that, let me put it this way. How could our prime servant always quoting Bob Marley songs, speaking of the struggle of the people, find herself in France and do not, and listen to me carefully, do not address the fact that France, one of the companies in the Berlin conference at the table that she's begging for a seat at with a chair. Was one of the main people involved in the dividing of our continent known as Africa. Everything you see here in the shaded area that I've just outlined represents, let me go ahead and make this a little clearer, see if I could pan this around for ones to see. Let me see here if I can pan this around. Everything you see in this kind of a teal blue color is French Africa, which is funny because France is nowhere near this particular place. Yet everything you're looking at here was captured and colonized by Franks. And the Frankfurt is still a currency that's operated, although you don't find the Frankfurt in France. These countries, these colonies rather, use the right term, is where France still to this day have major involvement. And these countries are forced to pay France a whole bunch of money using a currency that France don't even use to conduct their business, undervaluing the nature of the resources of the people and the country itself and the land itself. Yet you go to France and big up France politician, where the French people themselves don't have no interest in him, none whatsoever, no confidence. This is what I'm saying, family, that this is a psychosis we're dealing with. This don't make, somebody please make it make sense, man. Let me look at the comments here, man. Make it make sense, because I don't get it. I don't get it. Oh, man, don't even do that. Right now, they're carving up Kingsland Estate even more and have for sale signs all over it. You got to be kidding me, man. You got to be kidding me. Kingsland Estate, if you've never heard about it, Google Kingsland Estate. For all those who watching, wherever you're watching, Google Kingsland Estate. Go check it out. Go check it out, man. You can't make this stuff up. You cannot make this stuff up. In fact, let me pause here a second. I want everybody to take a minute who watching on Facebook to go and share this in your status. Don't put this up on your status. Don't put this link in your WhatsApp group. Go share this, because family, when you have to grasp where I'm going to go to next. Watch this. You think this is a joke? I'm going to pause for a second. Let me just get my thoughts together. Give you a little time to go and share the link. Like, share, and subscribe if you haven't done so already. All righty. Let's see. She's looking for stripes in every place she go. Nah, I don't know if it's stripes, babe. Is she flying the globe on taxpayers' money? And by taxpayers, you mean servants, wards, property of the corporation, in which case that is your job to finance the endeavors of the corporation. After all, don't the chickens on the farm bring in revenue for the farmer? Don't the chickens on the farm bring in revenue for the farmer? Don't the cows on the farm produce revenue or produce material that bring in revenue for the farmer? Rather milk, leather, or beef? Just asking for a friend. It's perspective, family. We got to change our perspective. This right here is an intergenerational battle. This is nothing that's going to be, France. Speaking of France, she was there a couple of days ago. Right now, if y'all don't know, let me go ahead and share this right here briefly. Let me just drop this one in here briefly. Let me get right now, France is rioting. She was there the other day. They had a little conversation. Right now, people in France are rioting. France hit by third night of riots over police killing a teen. So right after our prime servant left, long story short, police killed a young man, seemingly, unjustifiably. So France, the people in France don't make that kind of sport. You see, that's what I'm saying. When you speaking to an enslaved people versus a people who have never been enslaved but have known freedom, you're going to get different results. Different results. Right now, France, look, they call in, how many? They say they call in, where is it? Hold on a second. France witnessed a third night of riots amid high public anger over the fatal shooting of a teen by a policeman. Meanwhile, the unrest has spread to neighboring Belgium. That's how far it's going. Not just in France, it's gone over. This is the part. The government deployed 40,000 police officers following 2 nights of rioting. 40,000 police officers on duty in France right now. Because the people ain't trying to hear that. Not trying to hear it. You don't get to do that. I don't know what happened. I didn't get too deep into it, but let me post a link for those who are interested to go read up on it and check it out. Check it out. France, right after our prime servant was right there. I won't make no connection on correlation. I won't even go that far. But just to let you know, yeah. Nah, this ain't your usual politics, man. France not playing that at all. Look at that. Look at that. They're not playing that. They ain't playing that. They ain't playing that at all, man. I wouldn't even get into the video. Like I said, go check the link out. Oh, by the way, this is outside the police station. Just saying. Just saying. I'm just saying for a friend. I'm just saying, man. France ain't playing that. The same country that went to Africa and chose a chunk of Africa. A chunk. A whole chunk. Look at it, man. Look at it. Look at it. A chunk. That's why we are where we are. We keep bringing chairs to tables where we don't belong. We keep bringing chairs and knocking on doors. Can I get a seat at tables we don't belong? Rather than investing in our youth and ensuring that they have a proper future and building a table. This is an intergenerational struggle. This ain't going to go away overnight. We building what we building now for them and for their future and their children. But no, these administrators, man, I'm telling you, family, I'm telling you, man, this ain't what you think it is, man. France, we ain't going no. Biggest state in Africa. Up till today, they still in France. They're still in Africa. And you go to France and big up France, talk about climate change, man, y'all crazy. Y'all people sick, man. You know the problem really is? I want y'all to write this down. Hold on a second. What's his name? What's the guy's name? Let me think if I could Google it here real quick. John Henry Clark. Yeah, write that down, family. John Henry Clark. We have a duty to carry this torch, family, whether we want to or not. This generation right here, right now, this generation. I said France burning down places, serious. France, Beverly, France ain't making a sport with the people. France don't play that. France, look, see, Barbadians, and I hate saying it, I know the people don't like it. Barbadians have never known freedom. A lion born in captivity have never hunted a day in his life. Never. Everything is brought on a platter and slid onto the gate. Everything is brought in a bucket and tossed at you like legs from KFC at a picnic on a beach. Finger licking good. Morning words versus evening songs. Listen, we got to carry this torch for our children, our children's children, without losing hope. We got to do it without losing hope, man. See, when the colonizers and colonialism lost its whole lackluster and the image of it, they had to switch gears. They had to switch the gears, man. And the thing is, that's when they pushed this thing into the neo-colony. And these countries, like Barbados, in 1966, became what they call independence. They gained independence. But by gaining independence, guess what they did? They basically, yes, true, but the lion can still turn around and eat you. But wait a minute, hold on a minute. It's in its nature. But unless the lion realizes he's a lion and not a domesticated cat, he ain't eating nothing. He just gonna purr, meow, stretch, and sleep. That was deep. Woo! The funny thing is, when the Caribbean country, when Barbados, let me bring it home, gained, listen to the words, gained, they say we gained independence in 1966. What do you mean by gain? We inherited it, we negotiated it, we bought it, it was given. We received independence in 1966. But in receiving independence, what did we do? Greetings to you too, family. What did we do? What did we do? What did we do? Time to run out the invaders. This is our lands where they are watching our people suffer. Crunch time, wake up. Let me tell you something. What did we do when we gained and received independence? The ministers that went to these schools of thought that they were encouraged in a particular way of thinking, mimic European politics. They didn't create their own. Imagine that. We went from a colony to a neo-colony, and rather than come up with our own ideas on how to regain and rebuild our legacy, we basically mimic European governance. The whole governance system, we basically copied. Parliament, in some cases, the Whigs. Some countries, they got on the Whigs. Oh, man. John Henry Clark, no African country will ever succeed, none of them, on the basis of a European governing system. It will never happen. So I don't mind how much the prime servant travel the world and speak eloquently in front of all the different countries and jurisdictions about prosperity and unification. So long as we are practicing European, so long as we are mimicking the governing system of the oppressor, it was inherently designed to keep us right where we are. And we will stay in that position without question. Don't get tight with it. The New Colony Project, man, that's what it was. The New Colony Project, mimicking our oppressors. It's a fact, Jacqueline. Mimicking our oppressors, man. Bottom line, the New Colonial Project, sis, guess what it was instituted to do? And it's more diabolical in this day and age. Don't get tight with it. Far more diabolical in this day and age, man. The neo-colonial projects. Look around the Caribbean. Just look around the Caribbean and see what's going on. See for yourself what's going on in the Caribbean. And ask yourself a question. Which of the leading Caribbean countries is free? Look at the state of the government. Look at the state of the countries. Look at the state of the debt. But these banks, these Trojan horses, they give you these resources knowing that you can't pay it back, like courts. After Christmas, they come for the furniture or send the debt collector. Schools to rob people of their livelihood. I agree. Only Rasta can liberate the people. Rastafari. And I go as far as saying there's Rastafari in the hearts of many people in Barbados. Don't look for the locks, you know. Don't study this thing. Watch. They say, by your fruits you are known. By your fruits you are known. By your fruits you are known. No matter how many times you call a mango tree a banana, it's going to still bear mangoes. Still bearing mangoes. None of the Caribbean countries are free. None. None. And all these leaders boast about their political degrees. I have a degree in political science. This is the funny thing. That's how you know they're sick. They're sick mentally. I have a degree in political science, you know. I have my master's degree in political science. But it makes sense. The master gave you a degree in his political science. The master. Well, if the master gave you a degree, you'd have to be the slave that lives in the house. Feel free to paraphrase that and reword it if you like. Let's not be delusional here. You know, a lot of this bring a chair to the table. Let me go a little further. Shirley Chisholm. Chisholm, her idea of bringing a chair to the table that our prime servant felt the need to quote her on an international stage, for me, is double speak. It's almost coded. Because this, like I said, her family was one of the Quakers. And you know what? I gonna go there. Hold on a minute. I go in there. Buckle your seatbelt, man. No catch my second win. Let me go there. Let me go there. Because see, the truth is always an offense, but it's never a lie. Never a lie. Let me go here. Let me go here. Let me share this real quick. It's the heart. It's the heart. It's the heart. Family, I want to share a link with you all that I am begging you all. I shouldn't say that. I don't like the word begging. I'm encouraging you all to go and watch. You probably would have seen it before. I don't know. Some of y'all may. But it's on cspan.org, of all places. Give thanks to my inbox crew, my researchers. Y'all, listen, I love y'all, man. Y'all don't let me down at all, man. Y'all this before. Y'all get this. Where do you find this stuff? How do y'all find this stuff? This right here, family, I'm telling you right now, go and check this out. Without question, go check this out, family. Go check this out. Go check this out. I'm going to play a few portions of this particular presentation real quick. This is a presentation. Like I said, it kind of shocked me when I first came across it. Slavery and the Quakers in 17th century Barbados, which I thought was a bit crazy. Like, Quakers, who are the Quakers? The Quakers, brethren. You know, you hear with these clothes, brethren and stuff. This is the part that don't nobody want to talk about. Don't nobody want to talk about. If the Quakers, look, man, if the Quakers, the brethren, were truly against slavery and wanted to recognize Africans as humans, as being equal, in fact, they said that Africans are God's children. If they, of course, that was just a small majority, because the truth is most of them really believe that. Most of them practice that philosophy or ideology. And certainly not the ones in the British Caribbean, specifically Barbados, although they had a few. It wasn't widespread, but I want to bring two things to your realization. Check this out, man. Like I said, viewers' discretion is advised. It's going to get real sensitive in a minute.
At the time, I was very surprised to learn that slavery was actually an accepted and common practice among the English Quakers who were in political control of Pennsylvania. And that wasn't all. Quakers were also involved in the slave trade. And as it turned out, many of the Quakers in Philadelphia had immigrated not from England, but from the Caribbean islands of Barbados. Okay, so you hear where they came from. A lot of them folks up there in America immigrated from Barbados, right here, homegrown. But wait, there's more. There's Barbados. Pennsylvania may have been the first official Quaker colony, but it was not the first Quaker community in the Americas. There was a large Quaker presence on Barbados where thousands of Friends lived. In the 1670s, it was called the Nursery of Truth by Quakers, because it was so filled with Quakers. The Nursery of Truth. Listen, y'all hearing this stuff? Yo, write this down. Let me post this link right here so y'all can go check this out first. Let me just paste this link right here in the comments. For those watching, the link is in the comment box below. Go check it out. Go check it out. Go watch the full thing. I'm telling you, this is an eye opener and a game changer. Let me play the rest of this. Hang on. So when Pennsylvania was founded in 1682, William Penn and others used their Quaker connections in Barbados to purchase enslaved Africans. So in other words, they were buying enslaved Africans from Barbados. Let me play that back a bit. Listen to this again carefully, family. I told y'all to go listen, man. You got to share this with your people, your friends, your family. This is knowledge that most of y'all are now hearing for the very first time in your life. In your life. We ain't got no time to be distracted by LBGT agendas. Because that's what that is. They're pawns in this thing.
They being used to distract you. Don't get me wrong though. That ain't gonna fly. Whatever plans they got ain't flying. Don't get me wrong. I'm simply saying there's a bigger picture. Stand back a little bit and see the fullness of this thing. Listen to this carefully.
Others used their Quaker connections in Barbados to purchase enslaved Africans.
You heard what she said? To purchase enslaved Africans. She didn't say to purchase slaves in Africa in Barbados. She said to purchase enslaved Africans in Barbados. Why did she use that term? Hold on, let's get into it some more.
As Pennsylvania's social and economic structure developed, ties with the West Indies and other trade outlets flourished. So in 1690, for example, so this is less than 10 years after Pennsylvania is founded and 2 years after the Germantown protest, William Penn announced proudly that 10 slave ships had arrived from the West Indies in just 1 year. The trade with Barbados was a source of pride and a symbol of prosperity for many English Quakers.
It was a symbol of pride. A symbol of pride. Pride and industry. And that like, hold on a minute. Where have you heard the word pride in relation to the conversation of Barbados? Where do you hear that word pride? Where do you hear the word pride? Somebody talk to me, man. Somebody talk to me, man. Go tell a friend to tell a friend. Somebody talk to me, man. Where you heard that word before? Let me look. Hold on, man. Let me play that back. Y'all think I'm playing?
The trade with Barbados was a source of pride and a symbol of prosperity for
a symbol of pride and a source of prosperity. Y'all ain't hearing me, man. Let's play this, man. Y'all ain't ready for
many
this.
English Quakers who considered slavery to be necessary for economic development.
Slavery was necessary for economic development. Quakers, the brethren, the ones that came from Barbados. Yeah, the brethren, the Quaker brethren. They got a different name today, but I won't get that in this one. Stay tuned for Monday. Well, let me touch this some more. Hold on a second. There's more.
So I realized that I needed to tell this story. Like many stories that are sort of shameful or embarrassing, this one had, frankly, largely been suppressed in the Quaker histories that I had read. Most histories about Quakers and slavery in the 17th century, they acknowledge that Quakers owned slaves, but they focus mostly on finding the seed of abolition in these early Quaker records. So I decided to ask different questions. Instead, how these slave-owning Quakers fit into their own time. None of them would have predicted the demise of the slave trade or of slavery. So I really wanted to understand them and the relationship between Quakers and slavery. So I needed to take a different approach.
Listen.
So why did Quakers accept slavery in this period?
Listen.
How did they justify slavery within their theological worldview?
Listen.
How did their views compare to other European Christians who encountered slavery? I also wanted to think about what Christianity may have meant to enslaved and free Black men and women who joined the ranks of the Quakers as well as other denominations. When and why did they choose to convert? As I moved away from my thesis and towards writing a dissertation and eventually a book, these became the questions that fueled my research.
Now, I'm going to tell you this right here, family. Like I said before, I'm sharing this information with you for a number of reasons, because it's all relative. Let me see our prime servant go up there and speak to these individuals like this. We have to understand that. What is her background? What's her historical family background? Is her family Quakers? Were they part of this whole thing going back? I just asking for a friend, because you're speaking from the standpoint of you're not speaking from the standpoint of the enslaved. You're speaking from the standpoint of commerce and what's in the interest of the corporation known as Barbados, which is funny because it used to be ran by those who was in charge at the time, who had a financial interest in the plantocracy. Because only somebody who was interested in running the plantocracy would generate that much, run around the world begging for money, putting the country in debt over things that we don't even know nothing about, then defer the debt to pass on to the children so that we ain't got to pay it back no time soon. No time soon, until you leave office, of course. In other words, you ain't got to pay it back. Let me skip here a little bit. Let me go forward a little bit here real quick. Let me bring it to a point where, because I don't want to go through this whole thing right now. Let me go right here.
4 of whom were slave owners.
Listen to this.
And just as a side note, this map was actually created by a Quaker living in 17th century Barbados, Richard Ford. And it's an amazing map because Quakers have a peace testimony. They didn't want to support the militia. And so he refused to draw any of the military forts on the map. And you read the letters from the governor of Barbados back to the Lords of Trade and Plantation in London, and he's so mad. He's saying, we do have fortifications, but this Quaker guy just wouldn't put them on the map. So, yeah.
Hear that? There were military bases all across Barbados during that time, but this guy, Richard Ford, he said, nah, I'm not going to put on the map where the military bases are. No. I wonder why he would do that. Why would he not want to show where the military bases were located? Think for a second. Let me see if you can figure this out. Let me just fast forward here this one more time. Permit me, family. Just permit me, man. Permit me. Hold on a second. Let me see. Y'all are y'all grasping this, or this is just y'all grasping this? Give me some, you know what? Give me some feed forward, family. Give me some energy, man. Give me some energy. Let me know if y'all really grasping this thing in the connection. Don't miss this, because what I'm gonna play next will be even more interesting. And I've never even heard about this one before either. Check this out. Check this out, family. Check this out. Give me some feed forward. Good night, Auntie Faye. How are you, family? They said busy family is part of the close brethren. You see, they don't call themselves Quakers anymore. But they do, well, let me rephrase that. They don't call themselves Quaker brethren anymore. But they do call themselves brethren still. Look, this thing deep. But this, hold on, man. Let me go a little deeper. I want to give a shout out to my family, Shira, though. Shout out to Shira as well and the whole family. Because I'm telling you right now, this information right here, I'm telling you, listen what I'm about to play next. Listen to this.
Rebellion. In response,
hang on, let me
English
go back.
Colonists,
let me go back.
So in many ways, this is disappointing.
Let me get it.
In fact,
Hold on.
much of the scholarship about Fox's visit to Barbados, 25.
There you go.
A few years after Fox's visit,
listen to this.
English colonists discovered that a group of enslaved men were planning a rebellion.
They were planning a rebellion.
In response, the English colonists took drastic measures. They executed the enslaved rebels, tortured others, and rewarded the informants.
You go back.
English colonists 1675.
In 1675, write that down. Listen, the government of this country, this corporation known as Barbados, listen to me very carefully. I don't mind the prime servant going over the world and speaking all eloquently and demanding that the G7 or the G20s or the economic forums or the WTO or the European Union or the what do you call it? The world, what is it? The IMF Bank or the World Bank or whatever institution that she's going at, the African MX Bank, whatever, which is really just a subsidiary of the what do you call it? The World Bank. Anyhow, that's all it really is. The African Virgin. Here's the thing, family. This nation right here, Barbados, the people who have run this plantocracy from then up until now, because the same families are running it, they never at any point said, okay, look, you guys been here for quite a while. We understand. We have really just beat the crap out of you for generations. We have stole your resources. We have marginalized you, done all these atrocities to you and your children. We're just going to go ahead now and simply just, hand things over to you and call it independence. You go ahead and run things. No. They selected a group of individuals to run things on their behalf according to mimicking their same European form of governing and governance. Nothing changed, just the faces. They allow the ones that look a little like you, who integrated and inculcated into their culture, who through a process of breeding, I said it, yes, breeding and producing through eugenics, a lighter version of themselves, but not quite like them, to govern things in their absence. So they look white, but they're not really white. I said it. And guess what? Guess what? Our revolt right here in Barbados. Listen what she said, man.
So in 1675,
1675.
a few years after Fox's visit, English colonists discovered that a group of enslaved men were planning a rebellion. In response, the English colonists took drastic measures.
1675. When we hear about Bussa, 1806, we know 1816, we know that, everybody know that one. I mean, like April, everybody talk that one all the time. Like everybody know that one. 1675. I never hear about that one. 1675. We've been fighting these folks since 1675. Now, hold on. I'm going to play that again, man, because y'all ain't listening.
English colonists discovered that a group of enslaved a few years ago.
Listen.
So in 1675.
1675, family. 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. 400 years. 400 years. We've been fighting these people for 400 years. And as far as we could get is to go to Ghana and insult in Kwame and Nkrumah regarding unification in Africa, when we in there making apologies for the countries that carved up the motherland and enslaved the rest of us for centuries. We making apologies for them. France, you got to be sick in your head. You got to be sick to do that. You got to be sick. 1675. Look what they did. Listen what they did.
A few years after Fox's visit, English colonists discovered that a group of enslaved men were planning a rebellion. In response, the English colonists took drastic measures. They executed the enslaved rebels, tortured others, and rewarded the informants.
Rewarded.
They also did something pretty unusual.
Listen.
They passed an act that forbid Quakers from worshiping alongside enslaved men and women.
Hold on. They passed an act that forbid the Quaker brethren, from having fellowship with the enslaved Africans. Now y'all gotta y'all gotta set nah. They rewarded those who informed. Some folks were rewarded. I wonder if them was the brethren that was rewarded too. I'm just wondering, asking for a friend, because the wealth distribution in this country is clearly biased. Let me go a little further, man.
I'm going to read a passage of the act. The act asserted that enslaved people had, quote, been suffered to remain at the meeting of Quakers as hearers of their doctrine and taught in their principles, whereby the safety of this island may be hazard.
You hear that? The safety of this island may be hazard. Hold on.
If the act continued, any enslaved person was, quote, found with the said people called Quakers at any time of their meeting, and as hearers of their preaching, the Quakers would have to pay a fine.
So let me get this here straight. You ever wonder why hold on, man. Let me put myself in front and center this thing here, man. You ever wonder why I ain't talking about the brothers and sisters of African descent that find themselves involved in the brethren religion on the outskirts, because I don't know what goes on inside, but I don't know if it's equal and level playing field. I've asked for him. Well, I personally saw one of the guys, I don't remember his name, big guy. I think he's in charge. Bought him somewhere in the mall and asked him. So they wanted to come and knock on the door and come on in. I could come on in. I don't think his response was yes. I don't remember what he said. Rastafari know that I tell myself, let me ask a question just to see what he would say. We ain't bringing a chair to your table here. We can build we own. because we realize that there's a law in Barbados that states that you, yes, winner, we get to you know, winner is supposed to mix and mingle with the enslaved Africans. And the slaves here, we was never slaves, never slaves. But here we're going on. They never taught us that in school. They never said none of this in school. They never, it took a white lady overseas or the theses to drop this knowledge on us in the Caribbean. But then again, most of y'all probably heard this before. Maybe it's just me who heard it for the first time. Maybe it's just me who hearing this for the first time. But wait, hold on. Let me let us play. Hold on. There's more.
Within a year, the Quaker Ralph Fretwell was, quote, prosecuted for 80 enslaved people being present at a meeting in his house. And Richard Sutton, also a Quaker, was taken to court for, quote, 30 enslaved people being present at a meeting. What is going on here? Why would Quakers, we already talked about their anti-war testimony, why would Quakers be blamed for slave rebellion when they had a peace testimony? So I've learned that when you're doing historical research, when things don't seem to make sense, you have to dig in.
Yep.
And it's often these incongruencies that reveal something fundamentally important about a particular place and time.
Listen.
So let's do this. 17th century Quakers, I came to understand, were radical, but not because they were abolitionists. Instead, Quakers like George Fox were radical because they suggested that blacks and whites should meet together for worship. And Quakers weren't the only Christians who were persecuted for meeting together with enslaved people. As I began to investigate this issue further, I looked beyond the Quaker records to the archives of other Protestant denominations, members of the Church of England or Anglicans, as well as other smaller denominations like the Moravian Church.
Mm-hmm.
And as I did so, I realized that there were some very important similarities in their experiences.
Listen.
In each case, English slave owners attacked Protestant missionaries and enslaved Christians for meeting together. On the island of St. Thomas, for example, Moravian missionaries and black converts were beaten and attacked by white colonists. Slave owners stole Bibles from enslaved Christians and they burned Moravian books. Yes, you were promised an image from the Moravian archives, and here it is. This is, and it's my favorite document that I found, so I had to find some way to get it into a talk on Quakerism. This is a letter that was either written or probably more likely dictated by a free black Moravian woman named Marata, who was writing to the Queen of Denmark to ask her to support black Christians. So I should note here that so the island of St. Thomas, which is now part of the U.S. Virgin Islands, was part of the Danish West Indies in the 18th century, and so that's why she's writing to the Queen of Denmark.
Listen, family, when y'all get a chance, right? Go and watch. I put that link up. I put that link up in the comments for that particular C-SPAN interview. Go watch that. I'm gonna give you one more real quick to watch before I go back on this. Let me put this one up real quick here as well. Let me put this one up. Copy this down here. Let me put this in the link as well. This is an absolute must watch. Must watch. Must watch. The link is here in the comments as well. This is episode 6, The Magnificent African Cake. Berlin Conference documentary. How Europeans justified killing Africans on the continent. Family, you got it. These are things you watch with your family on Sunday afternoons after lunch. You know, you put on your smart TV, pull up on the screen, and just digest this kind of information in light of the fact you just came from a service where your pastor would have promised you heaven while you living on hell on earth. Seemingly so. You got to go check this out, family. It is an absolute must. Absolute must. Look, absolute must. Go check this out, man. Let me just the comments is right there. Let me see. Thanks for the link. Very interesting. 30 people must be hopping mad because this knowledge in your listen, let me tell you something, right? this thing deep because these families still exist right here, right now. Don't get tight with it. A lot of them left. A lot of the Quakers that were in Barbados later on converted to Anglicanism, and I think probably became Protestants. I think so. So when they converted, understand that they didn't give up who they were as Quakers. They just went under a different umbrella to hide and avoid the persecution that was going on. I wonder why. This thing deep, family. It deep. It real deep. And it's time that we start recognizing that a lot of wrongs were done to a lot of families on this land. A lot of families. And if you're going to ask for reparation abroad and ask for assistance and whatnot, the government of this country or people enough in this country for all the crimes they commit against them too. What you feel? So the same way you advocate to the United Nations and these bigger people, we, the people of this nation, telling you, the cooperation of Barbados, that you're all Barbadians, the enslaved Africans here, the indigenous people here, you owe us. And it's high time you pay what you owe. It is high time you pay what you owe. Enough is enough. Out the place, all over the place, making the country like a joke thing to people in the world, laughing at us that you on the stage begging on every 5 minutes you on the stage. And all you're doing is telling people you want this and that. Listen, man, hold up. Let me give you all one more, man. Let me go one more step further. Let me give you one more. Let me give you one more link right quick. Justa.org. Let me copy this link. Can you all see the screen? Can you see the screen, family? Let me pull it up a bit, man. Let me pull up a bit. Allow me to introduce Exhibit A. Exhibit A. Let me see if I can pull this off. Slave revolts and conspiracies in 17th century Barbados. Let me make this clear to you. 17th century is not the 1700s. 17th century is the 1600s. So 1675, like they talked about the revolt, several serious alarms occurred, and in they won't even let me highlight it, the page right here, right there, 1675 and 1692, major insurrectionary plots were discovered before the plans could be realized. Major. Look, the family was planning to burn the place. Look, man. I mean, Barbados has, look, they keep telling people, right? Oh, Bajans real passive. Oh, Bajans real passive. Look, that's a lie you were told to keep you from recognizing your generational strength and energy, synergy, and the reality of the atrocities that happened to your family for centuries. So no, we're not here playing games anymore. These town hall meetings, parish speaks. I didn't even got the time to get into the one I had last night. I don't even want to touch it, really and truly. Or even the press conference they had discussing problems about some gender bathroom and this kind of rhetoric and double speaking. Now, look, all of it is theatrics. Trust when I tell you. Theatrics. It is pure theatrics, family. Look the proof. Look the evidence right here. Exhibit. Well, I did a few exhibits tonight. I lost count, family. I ain't sure which one this is. Go and download this document right here. Click on the page. Click on print. Download this document. It's several pages to it. Go and see for yourself the things that happen in Barbados that they never told you about, that they hid. A lot of information that they hid from you. Pages and pages and pages of information they hid from you. I'm telling you, man. Negro said Negroes lurking in the woods and secret places, committing many violence and attempting to assassinate people, to their great terror and disturbance of the inhabitants. Oh man. They said a few months later, the legislator requested for the council, the governor to appoint a certain day and issue commission for a general hunting of great number of Negroes that are out in rebellion, committing murders, robberies, and diverse other mischiefs. Listen, man, we had the place hot. Had the place hot. Now we shooting each other and robbing each other. Yeah, the mic just dropped. As a fact, I done with this tonight, man. I done. That's it, man. I'm done. I'm done. I know to take my cues, man. I'm done. Politically incorrect, man, was here, man. We out. Simple as that. In a longer nights. In a longer nights tonight. In a longer nights tonight, man. I'm telling you right now. Yeah. I'm gonna play a little clip here real quick. Just one more on my way out. Oh, this before I unplug from Cyborg Space. Play one more little clip here for y'all.
Ça doit changer dans la manière de coopérer avec la France et l'Europe. Regardez-nous autrement, en nous respectant, en nous considérant comme de vrais partenaires, et non pas toujours avec un regard paternaliste, avec l'idée de toujours savoir ce qu'il faut pour nous et non pas pour...
Let me say this real quick. The Congo president basically checking Macron. Check this man. You know, like you gonna stop talking to me like that, man. Like you gonna cut that out, man. Cause you know, we at the stage where we ain't about that prime servant Caribbean enslaved people who don't know freedom kind of thing. This is the new Africa emerging. I don't know what you think you're talking to, but right now, you're gonna stop talking to me like that, man. You gonna stop? Oh, let me pull up for the top again, family. You gonna stop talking to me like that, man?
Ça aussi, ça doit changer dans la manière de coopérer avec la France et l'Europe. Regardez-nous autrement, en nous respectant, en nous considérant comme de vrais partenaires, et non pas toujours avec un regard paternaliste, avec l'idée de toujours savoir ce qu'il faut pour nous et non pas pour...
Yeah.
Si le président...
Nah, we ain't want to hear you, man. We ain't about that there. We ain't about that there. We ain't about that there, man. That we're getting on tonight, family, because reality, the fact is, it's been going on for so long, and we have sat back and observed things. And I keep telling family members, wars are won by strategy, not emotions. So all the ones that be trying to butt me and defend the prime servant, I don't have nothing against no me and Motley, no BLP, DLP. It's people first, however. And you cannot continue to insult the people of the nation and feel that it is a good thing. You about the world making speeches all over, quoting all kind of people. But if you ain't got to sit at the table, bring a chair. And the only chair you want to bring is the conference at the table at the Berlin conference. We don't want a seat at the Berlin conference. We don't want nothing to do with the Berlin conference. Like I said, France, of all places, France got the biggest crimes. France, look, man, France right now, or Haiti. Let me talk. Yeah, family, I'm back. I'm back to the. You cannot make this up, family. You cannot make this up. You cannot make this up. You cannot make this up. Listen, the mafia. Hold on. Let me see me get my let me get my tune here real quick, man. I done for the night. Y'all already know, man, what time it is, man. Y'all already know what time it is. Let me just post some links. Let me see you comment. Jem, I see you, man. I see you, man. Prophetic might drop, huh? You said enough. Real thing, they might just drop. Just drop need to share the information with the fellas on the blocks, huh? Keep the knowledge up. Wait, Steve? Yo, I see the brother. Shout out to the family in UK, all the family in UK, Canada, US, all across the globe that watching quite late, real quick, and them other regions, man. Shout out to the brother putting in work as well. Good to see you, brother. Long time no see, man. I see you, Sunflower. I see you, family. I see you. What they did. Nah, yo, man. Listen, the information already there. The links going viral. They could afford Digicel. Listen, Digicel is run by the CEO, who happens to be the wife of Wilfred Abram, the Minister of National Security. So when I see my Digicel acting up, I just find it real strange that, you know, I just have the kind of problems I have with Digicel. I gotta call them out because I tired telling the people the situation, what it is, man. We know, and like we don't know. I ain't saying they did nothing, but on 2 different occasions, my account was completely, what they call it? It wasn't disconnected for non-payment. It was, the word they used was what the word they used? It wasn't disconnected, deactivated. My account was deactivated. Why? As if I had moved and changed my location, so they closed on this one. So much so that they had to give me a temporary number to define my old number, then to restore my previous number. Madness. You cannot make this up, family. So when people talking, I don't mind them talking. I know what's going on, man. I know, man. Show them a different perspective. I see you, Gemma. Where we at? The people in Barbados don't know. It's a fact, brother. It is a fact. It's a fact. It's a fact. That's why we're here, to speak that light into the darkness and allow them to see the error of their way. Because even those in the house, even those in the close brethren, let me call a spade, even the ones inside don't know this. Show me a black close brethren business that's successful in Barbados. Show me one that's majorly successful. Just one. Call a name. For the most part, a lot of them end up closing. A lot of them end up working back for the lighter fella. Yeah, man, that you can't make it make sense, man. How can we dominant yet you ruling? That, I mean, how, explain that to me. Explain that to me. Ain't no passive Negroes in Barbados. Ain't none. Ain't no passive Negroes. Niggas. You may got the ones that in the house that don't want to lose the chair they bring to sit at your table, Massa. Let me talk to Massa real quick. Look here, Massa. I ain't talking to your cronies. I'm talking to you. Check this out. I know that you know your time come to an end. I mean, I know that you know your time done. I know that you know that already. I know that for a fact. I know you know. But your cronies, like they don't know, and they're trying to hold on to we house like it's still theirs. Do me a favor and tell them that, listen, the reason why you packing and looking to move on and do things is because it's that time. It's that time. It's time to hand over what you took. So people just hate the truth. I don't know if they hate the truth, man. I feel that people are afraid of the truth, because with the truth, knowing the truth means you gotta change. Because that knowledge, the kind of knowledge that the truth bring, the kind of light the truth bring, it shows up all your imperfections. So you gotta check yourself, man. They're trying to shut me up. I done, man. So I done. I understand the ancestor speaking. I don't look at it from one direction. Enough is enough, man. Did they kick you out for exposing them? I mean, kick me off the internet, man. I hear, man. But you know what I'll tell you? It don't matter. This thing didn't happen. It going viral. They can't undo it. That don't make no sense. So I don't even study what happening, man. It just be the glitch in the matrix. When what it is, right? Perspective. When you see those things happening, don't always assume that it's the Chinese and Pegasus and this kind of thing. understand, right, that by virtue of our actions today, we are rewriting history tomorrow. So whatever they had set, sometimes you see a glitch in the matrix. Sometimes that glitch be a rewriting of destiny. Something was changed. Change the course of history. You must be doing something right for this to happen. Kevin, we'll go on, Brethren. I see you in a minute. They got Black Lion Security, though. I ain't mind. Black Lion Security, don't miss a beat. The physical and the non-physical. Anubis, man. I give thanks and praise to all those that govern, guide, and protect. Each and every one of us, man. I give thanks for y'all, family. Ta-da! That's right, Jackie. Y'all already know, man. Steve say you're doing something right. I see you doing things right too, my brother. Keep up the good works. That's what time it is, man. They can't divide us with no basic stuff. You know, the funny thing is, people act as if people can't have a disagreement. Because I disagree with you, don't mean I ain't like you. But I don't agree with what you do. You might want to wear a blue shirt. I want to wear black. I mean, not like blue. What are you supposed to do? Stop talking to you because you wearing blue and I wearing black. Nah, it's one family. It's one family. We ain't got no to look. The Battle of Adwa. I keep telling you all, go study the Battle of Adwa. We did this already, you know. We did this already. We could do it again, family. ISIS, I see you, family. I see you. Don't start about climate change. Don't start that, because the only climate they're trying to change is the heat that we bringing. Go read that last document I just wait. Did I post the link, family? Hold on a minute before I go too fast. Did I post the link to this document right here? I don't know if I posted it. I don't recall. So I go and post it again. Like I said earlier, let me line it up. Let me line it up. Hold on. Make sure you go download this thing and share this with your family, your friends, your church group, your WhatsApp group. Get the PDF, share it, print it, tell a friend. Left copies on the bus if you can afford it. Tell a friend and tell a friend. Share this. Share this like a fight video. Share this like a fight video. I hate to even say this, right? But promoting violence, because a lot of these fights will be violent, real violent. And folks are still share it like it's time to celebrate. I see them and tell myself, child, boy, sorry to see that, man. I feel for the people. But share this like it was something worth sharing differently. Tell a friend and tell a friend, man. And your family, I going. Peter, I see you, Peter. Greetings. You cannot make this stuff up. I telling you, man. Gemma, it's good to see you though. Shalom again. Shabbat shalom. Beverly, I know. Come on, Beverly. I don't know what time it is, man. Anyhow, it's all love, bro. Yeah, come on, Steve. You don't know that already, man. I don't know already, man. We don't do all nighters. You drop sleep and snore and all this thing. We done went too far, man. Come too far. A787. I see you. No, you did not. All right, then. It needs sharing. That's right. A said nope. I'm not sure to what, but it's all good in the context at the time. And your family. Oh yeah, pertaining to the document. Okay, the link right here. Look, check it out. I connected. I heard your thoughts, man. I heard your thoughts. I give thanks to that one. This is what they don't want me to share with you. But look, it did. The link there. The link dropped. It dropped like the mic, man. It dropped like the mic. Tell a friend, found him politically incorrect. We out. And as we came in, let me put it up again. Where is it? Let me look for it. For those who didn't see it, when we first started, we started off by viewing what is called what was it called? An African Thunderstorm. I'm looking for the link. I think I got it right here. This is how we're going to do this again, family. Let me share this one. For those who didn't see it, right? This is a poem by David Rubadiri. Yeah. Let me put it here and share this tab real quick. For those who did not see it, copied and moving. I love it. Listen, y'all the greatest, man. Realize that we want people. Don't ever let nobody come bringing division amongst you. Ain't nothing wrong with disagreeing with somebody, but to disagree and divide, that's the devil. Because we go in the same direction. Promised Land. Check this out, family. An African Thunderstorm by David Rubadari.
David Rubadiri.
There.
An
African Thunderstorm.
Yes, family.
From the west, clouds come hurrying with the wind, turning sharply here and there, like a plague of locusts, whirling, tossing up things on its tail, like a madman chasing nothing.
Pregnant clouds ride stately on its back, gathering to perch on hills like sinister dark wings. The wind whistles by and trees bend to let it pass.
In the village, screams of delighted children toss and turn in the din of the whirling wind. Women, babies clinging on their backs, dart about in and out madly. The wind whistles by whilst trees bend to let it pass.
Clouds wave like tattered flags, flying off
to expose dangling breasts as jagged blinding flashes
rumble, tremble, and crack amidst the smell of fired smoke
and the pelting march of the storm.
See, don't look that right there, family. I ain't gonna tell you, man. That one right there, deep. The link in the comments, go check it out. An African Thunderstorm. The trees bend to let the wind pass. Look, nature is beautiful, family. The universe will conspire on our behalf once we remain faithful. They say, my people are destroyed for the lack of knowledge. So when you reject knowledge, family, your destruction comes. But when you receive knowledge, that means the light shining and we can correct our ways and turn away, because there's some things we gotta let go as a people. That's a reality, because we is who hold ourselves in bondage by the things we do. Nobody ain't keeping us. Nobody ain't frightened for the government and the politician, the plantocracy and the this body and the that body. That's all in the mind of man. The mind of man. Renew the mind. Let the mind be in Christ, be also in you, family. Liberate yourself from mental slavery, but only you can emancipate yourself. Real thing. Liberate, liberate, liberate. Family, you all have a beautiful night. Give thanks for the time spent together, the energy, synergy in this reality, studying the words of the past, connecting with the present, directing the future. May we be guided by those that came before us. We always think that those that came before is the past. The truth is, those that came before come from the future. That I wasn't thinking. Haile Selassie first, Empress Reserve Menin. Yes, family. One perfect balance. Yeah. Politically incorrect, man. Y'all have a great weekend. Make the best of it. Spend time with your family. Put on the phone, you know. I can keep telling you, put on the phone, spend an hour every night with your family. If you can't do it every night, plan once a week to start with. An hour, 2 hours, sit down with your family and just have a conversation. Have a plan. In case that happen, what's the escape route? What's the plan? Things change in family. Don't be playing around in these times, man. Don't get caught in 5 virgins who ain't ready. Because the fact is, a lot of folks ain't ready. But those who ready, stay ready.